Hi everybody, Katie Florio standing alongside Will Vandervoort from the Clemson Insider, and today is the Monday Blitz. And Will, this week's game will be interesting because Clemson and NC State have not played for any type of championship, whether it's the division championship or the ACC championship since 1979.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of people probably don't realize that because, first of all, let's just say it, NC State hasn't done much. They haven't won a conference championship since that year. So a lot of people don't know that stat. And actually, me and Tim Beret earlier in the year talked about this. He went and looked it up, made sure I was accurate on that because NC State got on that roll, and so I was curious. And 1979, and the starting middle linebacker for NC State that year was a guy named Bill Cowher. That's how long ago it's been, and we all know about Coach Cowher. Obviously, I do. And and then also for Clemson, a guy named, probably people name some names they will remember. Jim Stuckey was on that Clemson team. Went on to play for the San Francisco 49ers and win some championships. So it's been a while since it's been like this. Now, Clemson's used to playing in these big games, obviously, the last couple of years and what they've done. NC State, not so much. So I'm going to be interested to see, especially coming off the loss, the mentality NC State has. Because I think Clemson, that can be an advantage for Clemson, because I remember last year when NC State lost to Clemson, the next week they went to Louisville. And after that disappointing loss to Clemson where they gave it everything they had, they got hammered by Louisville. I mean, it was embarrassing. So I want to see what their mentality is as a team when they come back for a game that has so much at stake. We know how Clemson can respond. I'm interested to see what NC State does.
Yeah, like you just said, obviously Clemson responded in a great way this past Saturday, and Kelly Bryant looked back to normal. He looked very healthy, and, we just talked to him a couple minutes ago, and he said his ankle feels fine, and, he just seems to be back to his, hopefully, normal, healthy self again.
Yeah, he did, and, I kind of took him to the side, talked to him about some other things, and he was very jovial and just, he was Kelly Bryant again, if you will. Not that he wasn't when he was injured, but he was keeping things close to the vest, so he didn't want to let things out. I think he gave us a little okey doke last week, coming out here telling us he was only 85%, and then he goes out there and he's zigzagging that whole first half. And I think that's huge for Clemson if Kelly Bryant is that healthy, because he just does so much for. You saw in that game what he does for the offense when he's healthy. He rushed for 62 of his 67 yards in the first half. They really went vanilla in the second half because the defense didn't need to take any chances after they built that big lead. And so that's what they're going to need him against this NC State team. What they like to do, NC State likes to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback and bring pressure. But if Clemson uses him as a running back, and that's going to force NC State to bring that extra hat up. And if he's effective running the ball, then what that does, that's going to open up a lot of play action stuff and all that. And there's going to be some opportunities for big plays down the field. So, it's interesting. I asked Jeff Scott about, NC State gave up 318 yards rushing. They came in like number 2 in the country in run defense before last week's game, and they ended up giving up 318 yards to Notre Dame. So I was interested to know, was it something schematic, or was it just Notre Dame's big guy just ran over them? And Jeff really didn't answer my question, which tells me there's something schematic they saw, and obviously he didn't want to give that away.
Right, and as you said, you talked to Jeff Scott today, and as we know, NC State is a very physical team, and that could really challenge Clemson this weekend. What else did Jeff Scott say today that you really took away?
Well, the physicality was the main thing, and he didn't come out and say it, but you could tell at the way he mentioned how they have to be physical. That I think it took them by surprise last year when on the opening drive of the game, I remember they were just really hitting them so hard. I mean, I think it took Clemson a little while to adjust, the offense that is, to the physicality that NC State came out with, because they knocked Wayne Gallman out on the first drive of the game, caused a fumble, and then the rest of the game they were laying smack hits on Deshaun Watson. They were doing it to Mike Williams, I remember, and it just seemed like every hit they had, somebody was laying a shoulder in, and they were really trying to knock people out. And I think the coaches and Jeff kind of mentioned that they have to bring that to the player's mind every day in practice this week. And so I think it's going to be a very physical game, but I think because of what happened last year, Clemson's going to be more prepared for it, and that might prevent some of those turnovers, because I think a lot of that's why Clemson turned the ball over, 4 times last year in the red zone. That's something they got to take care of and do a better job at, and one way to do that is make sure you come in with the mentality you're going to have to play physical.
Definitely, yes. So keep up with the Clemson Insider as we continue our coverage throughout the rest of the week.